Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. And today it's going to be a match between Scarlett and INnoVation for your Patreon cast for the week of November the 13th. If you're watching it then, thank you very much for subscribing to me on patreon.com/FalconPaladin. For as little as $1 a month, I appreciate it. If you're seeing this in December, happy Christmas season. For those of you who celebrate Christmas. Top left-hand corner is the blue Zerg player Scarlett. Bottom right, INnoVation. He's red, and he is Terran, and he is terrifying. INnoVation have been having a pretty darn good 2020, I would say. Scarlett having her traditional kind of highs and lows. Like, she has moments where she looks like one of the best Zerg players on Earth, and other moments where it's like, no, you are not one of the best Zerg players on Earth. It's very strange. She's been up and down for the last couple of years, though, ever since she won an IAM tournament. Big one, too. Like, big name stuff. And then just kind of since then hasn't really made a ton of noise. Because in order to win another big tournament, you really have to kind of dial it up. Like, you have to be consistently great for a long time, and she just hasn't been there. On the other side, INnoVation is very confident that Scarlett is not going to 12-pool him in the face. And as a result, is not SCV scouting. So either taking a risk there... It's taking a risk no matter what, and it's calculated because it's INnoVation, and he's the closest thing to a robot that we have in the StarCraft 2 scene. Now, Reaper's name is Rage Quit. Urban Legend says this guy is reincarnated every time. Oh, we already did that one. Dang it. Why did I... Why? Oh, man. Okay, we've got Fred Flintstone. After the very odd crossover that was the Jensens Meet the Flintstones, Fred decided he wanted to visit his new friend George Jetson. However, as we're checking for proxies up here, he didn't know how to use the time machine, and he overshot, ending up in Emperor Mengsk's office. Yabba dabba doo, Fred says when he realized his mistake. Seeing he was a prehistoric bumbling idiot, Mengsk put him in a Reaper suit, telling Fred he was hunting giant bugs and dinosaur-looking creatures. That should be right up this caveman's alley. Well, ma! And he did SCV scout a little bit later, I think, than I've normally seen. But hey, it worked out just fine. Reaper knows it was a hatch first play. Reaper knows it doesn't have to stay behind and defend against Zerglings that are going to be across the map, because they're not. They're going to be here defending the natural. And third base, see the drone over here just hanging out? Reaper could have stopped this. Chose to play this game instead. I'm going to harp on this every time until I hear a really good reason why on earth you'd want to get 0 kills instead of delaying this third base for upwards of 30 to 40 seconds. That's what you can do. You really can. And that could be so big. It could be so big in ATVZ. There you go. There's that that is a sub 3 minute, a very sub 3 minute third from INnoVation coming up inside the main base. This is some very standard macro style stuff out of INnoVation. And Scarlett, any shenanigans? Any shenanigans on the Zerg side here? The answer is no. We're looking at speed. Fine. Third base. Great. Really just droning up as hard as she can at the moment. And on the other side, our starport's coming in a little bit late because, again, the command center came up first. That is a really fast CC. Inno's being extremely greedy here. Whether that pays off for him, I don't know. Reaper still has 0 kills, and sure seems like it's going to die here. Oh, my gosh. Drones! One more. Oh, but the speed finished. Ah, he would have made it out. I'm sorry, Fred Flintstone. Like, be careful with time machines, I think, is the moral to this story. Oh, did he get a creep tumor? Let's see. 1, 2. This is... Oh, no, there's 2 here. Okay, so she's just spreading this way and hoping... Yeah, this is enough to connect over this way. This is some really... You know, I've never really considered the intelligence behind creep spread. Like, this tumor allows for connection of these bases with creep without a second tumor here, but also allows her to push forward at the same time. That's some economical tumor setting, and maybe I'm just making stuff up, and maybe that's not how she'd planned this at all. But still, pretty cool. Cloak Banshee, the follow-up for Inno off that starport. You have a lot of options. You can go for a Viking, you can go with Liberator, Banshee. All those are going to be just fine versus Zerg. Just depends on what you're comfortable with and what you think your opponent might be up to, and all of them are good. Like, I'm not going to complain, no matter what you're doing. Third base, landing at 430. Like, that is... That is fast. Hallion's trying to do stuff, but there's already roaches out. Actually, there's a large number of roaches and ravagers out. Scarlett is going... has not saturated the third at all, which I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Inno just scouted. Well, you know what? Got up here and got away. Okay, well, this Hellion knows these are Lings anyway. There's a Banshee, which can be, again, a godsend against this particular play that Scarlett is going for here. Liberator's not as good because Corrosive Bile exists, but Banshees. Oh, 2 Banshees. Normally, this is a death sentence for Terran, especially with that super greedy third, but these Banshees are just wailing away. The SCV body block is real. Ravager just getting 2-shot. I mean, not 2-shot, but it's very fast. And I think that might just be a GG. Like, Scarlett is done, man. That is a, as much of a... and she can cloak too, or yeah, the Banshee pilots can cloak. Oh, they're hiding that. Did they have? She did finish it, but hiding the cloak. More Lings pouring out. Yeah, I mean that is a paper rock scissors build order loss for Scarlett right there. Like that works exceptionally well, unless the Terran happens to go for 2 Banshees, in which case everything dies. 2,500 resources lost for Scarlett, 1,200 lost for INnoVation. He's got 3 bases rolling. Scarlett's got 3 bases. These Lings... like, sure, they could delay this 3rd base and maybe kill a couple SCVs. What is this guy doing? SCV was spazzing in the corner there. The Banshees are continuing to cause problems on this side. They've got 5 drone kills already. And these are hero Banshees, man. 12 kills and 9 kills. Some of these are Ravagers. Just beautiful. Scarlett is droning up, trying to recover from the disaster that was the first 5 minutes of this game for her, unfortunately. Kapow! Kapow! Kelly Kapowski. Zerglings. Now there are enough units to just kind of shove them away from that 3rd. And yeah, it's 3 base to 3 base. Scarlett really invested a lot into those Zerglings, and they're not really accomplishing much. They're not going to be able to accomplish much here. Inno just very patiently covering the natural base, covering this as well as he can with a great wall of supply depots. Heading out with the double medevac drop, and I don't know, this might be the first time I see a Zerg player completely get shut down with that 2-base, well, 3-base Roach Ravager attack, but then come back and be okay. It's usually the counterattack is brutal and swift, and the Terran player wins. I mean, yes, INnoVation's ahead at this stage. In a lot of ways. He's got double the army supply at least. Is there? That's why you have Overlord sitting right here, y'all, is for this very purpose. I don't know. Oh, the unload. Okay, this might be just another example of a swift, brutal counterattack just winning. Dude, that spawning pool dying sucks so much. Okay, well, that's gone. Extractor gone. 3 Ravagers and a handful of Queens are not going to do it against Stim Bio. Not even... Oh my gosh, the stutter stepping! Okay, Lings showed up. He's like, I thought I killed the spawning pool. The Scarlett's Lings did actually matter in the end there. But, spawning pool done. Replacing it now. Up here in the main. But really, if she wants to spend her money, it's going to be Roaches. And there's a Spire coming in, which I don't believe has been scouted by the Terran. No, it's not. Thank you, Zagara, for that important update about my creep tumors. Appreciate it. Yeah, Inno's at 1-1, like, working on 2-2. Army supply 69 to 32. Yeah, Zerg players can have more supply than a Terran and be down. This is disastrous. No Banelings at all. The Ravagers popping just... Oh, wait, hang on. Hang on, there are 3 Banelings. The Wintermines haven't even really found a nice place to land yet. Oh, they're going to get those... Whoa, but the friendly fire is a little problematic. 4th base gets killed too. 70 to 34 army supply. Scarlett is just on her back foot. Maybe she could have done it if she hadn't gone for that ill-advised, you know, giant Ling counterattack that, you know, killed 2 SCVs, but really only delayed the 3rd base a little bit. These Banshees are still here. 18 and 16 kill Banshees. This pair is going to the Hall of Fame for Banshees, man. Mutas in production from Scarlett, which I kind of like. Mutas are a bit of a comeback unit for Zerg and get some good damage with it. If Inno's not prepared for it, right? If he doesn't have turrets, if he doesn't have Widow Mines, which He's got Widow Mines, but not in defensive positions, really. These are moving forward to the front lines Widow Mines today. Oh, that Widow Mine hit! Banshee's just casually picking stuff off. It's 100 army supply for Inno at 10 minutes. He's at 179 overall supply. He's got 4 bases rolling. I don't know how Scarlett comes out on top here, but maybe some amazing Baneling connects would be good. Mutas are so bad at base defense. They're for aggression and offensive capabilities. They're not even in this battle, and Inno wins game number 1 of our Sneaky 2 for... Yeah, she managed to drag that out a little bit, right? She managed to say, all right, well, yes, my Roach Ravager attack got completely destroyed. Look at that income at disadvantage, too. 4-base Inno versus a 3-basing Scarlett. Yeah, I lost everything. Those 2 Banshees destroyed me, but maybe I can make a comeback here. But no, that 4th base got killed. No damage is done on the other side other than a couple SCVs. And INnoVation showing handily how you kill that early push. It helps if you've blindly made 2 Banshees. And maybe it wasn't blind. Maybe he did get a good scout on that saturation on the 3rd base, but I didn't see him do it, is the larger problem here. Anyway, regardless, have 2 Banshees. That's going to be good. Anyway, let's move on to game number 2 here. See if Scarlett can do a bit of a better showing against Inno, and we'll just be right back. Don't worry. Ice and Chrome, site of game number 2. Top right Inno, bottom left Scarlett. Quick plug for the podcast. Just search Falcon Paladin on your podcast app. You will find a weekly podcast with myself and Samacron, and sometimes a special guest. The last one had Duddles, as we talked about StarCraft 2 and GSL and the state of the game, and why Terrans win everything and all that stuff. And yeah, just go ahead and search Falcon Paladin wherever you get your podcast, or on Spotify as well. Alright, Scarlett, what are we going to do here? You got hard countered with your build. And I remember asking a while ago, what can Terran do against this? And apparently the answer is 2 Banshees. And just pull your SCVs. And that's it. Pretty darn easy. But if you can't scout it, that makes it a lot harder. And it's a good thing that Terran have scouting machines here. Right? Right. Anyway. INnoVation going 1 racks expand. Scarlett opening with a hatch first play. Did not go pool first here in game number 2 at all, though we have seen that from time to time. From Zergs and from Scarlett especially, just not today is all. That's okay. I think we can live with it. So this Reaper's name is, it's a longer one. Hythelgoth, the consumer of eyeballs. When Hythelgoth is an archdemon and one of the lords of the plane of Hyloth, Hythelgoth gets his jollies by visiting mortal children in their beds and, as his title suggests, eating their eyeballs. One day, as the Terran Dominion was experimenting with interdimensional technology, they managed to pull Hythelgoth from his home and imprison him. Eventually, the Terran Dominion found that Hythelgoth's powers was contained within his eyes and wings. They removed both and fed them to a hybrid, hoping to empower it. Hoping to empower it. After escaping his imprisonment and now blinded and flightless, Hythelgoth has strapped on a rocket pack and is seeking his revenge. 3rd base timing fast. That is a delayed queen in the... wait. Did you not make... How did she do that? She cut workers? She might have cut some workers to do that one, because she's got 2 queens and the 4lings and the 3rd base, like sub 2 minutes starting. Huh. That's an interesting variation on that. I'm okay with it. Not going to complain at all. Creep spread here too. First queen tumor down, just like Cyril does. I don't know who did it first. I think I recognized it and saw it first with Cyril, so whatever that means. Whatever that means at all. Alright. Well, at this point, what are we up to here? INnoVation not going for the very fast expand. He did get a starport down first, then the command center. Just felt like mixing it up here. And he's floating his barracks. Is he meching this? He's not making any marines at all. Okay, he's got a marine. I lied. He has a marine, 2 marines. One of my favorite animations is marines firing at stuff. They fire from the hip, right? Like, they don't even aim down any kind of, like, crosshairs or sights of any kind. The little goth here seems to be dead based on the fact that he's on creep and there's lings on his tail. And there's a queen here. Yeah, toast. Ah, speed finished. Right, man, again. The timing for these Reapers and speed is just not been going good. It's a Raven! Get comments on the channel from time to time. Why don't Terrans make Ravens to clear creep instead of using scans? It's a legitimate question, and the answer is Ravens are slow. And if Ravens are trying to retreat from a position, it's hard for them to do that. When there's a Raven that is slow to retreat, Queens on creep will shoot them out of the sky while they're trying to run away. It sucks, but we'll see. We'll see if this Raven dies here today or not. Okay, so we are bioing. We just floated that barracks over here to kill that Overlord. That seems like... I don't know. Is that, like, super viable? Maybe it is. Anyway, is there an armory? No. These are just Hellions. They're not going to be Hellbats or anything crazy like that. Stim's on the way. Going to bring that Raven on over to help clear that creep without using their scans. And maybe you toss out an auto turret and maybe help win a fight against some of these queens, too. Oh, that misclicked queen. Transfuse. Ah, transfuse is such a good spell. Ooh, the auto. Oh, see, the Raven died. See, that's why. That is why Terrans don't make Ravens, man. That was an expensive Raven that accounted for 0 tumors killed and 0 queens killed. Caused some transfuses to happen, but that's not exactly a massive win in the Terran playbook. So that's why. Everybody who's like, why don't we make Ravens? Well, Queen Anti-Air is really good against them, and Stalkers are really good against them. Let's go back to scanning. We'll go back to scanning, boys. See what we're up to. Third base landing at 540, which... not that much later than it was in the last game, I suppose. Yeah, just barracks, barracks, barracks all the livelong day. 1-1 here. A siege tank for the first time today. Do like a good siege tank with good placement. 4th base from Scarlett coming up at 5.5 minutes, which I don't think she got going until like 6 or 7 last time, and then it didn't happen. So she's much happier about her macro opening, I think, here. She's defended it very well. She hasn't lost many tumors or units at all. Her creep spread is fantastic, as it usually is. And yeah, third for Inno, just happy right now. Man, it's bio. I don't know what to tell you. It's tanks, it's combat shield, it's marines. It's all sorts of great stuff. This is one of my favorite StarCraft 2 tracks. Those French horns, they sound like French horns. Maybe trombones? It's been too long since I've been in band. I played the trumpet back in the day, but it was many moons and years ago. It's just they sound majestic enough to be trombones for me. A lot of brass instruments sound the same. But it's right in the range of a French horn. But I still think it could be a trombone based on some of the like steps you could hear. The steps between notes. Trombones slide a little bit less easy to flow with than, say, a trumpet. Alright, so siege tank's placed disgustingly well. And we're just going to break it. Top side, Lings, Banes, rah! Tanks dying. That's what tanks do these days. Ever since they took away the ability of tanks to get picked up by medevacs when they're in siege mode, they just die when attacks like that happen. There's really no saving it. We did make some Mutalisks, and they're actually engaging this time. Scarlett feels like she has a good chance to hold this and not just lose all of her mutas. I don't know about engaging off creep this far. Like some really decent Baneling hits there, but I hope you have some more Banelings back here. And she does. This is INnoVation's favorite thing to do on this map, is come to this position, whether it's on this side or that side of the map, and just put up tanks and, like, force the Zerg player into this choke. He loves it. Okay, the Baneling hits. We're good. Not perfect, though, and as a result, INnoVation was able to stand in there. And now INnoVation has to go home. And I don't know that he did the damage he wanted to on that opening attack. Oh, maybe don't lose all of your Mutalisks right here, though. Ow, Medevac's getting focused a little bit. Actually, Marine's getting attacked. Wow, this counterattack, though. Dude, suddenly it's 60 to 33 supply. Or army supply, rather, for Scarlett. She just made some really good trades there. Yes, she did lose 2 Mutalisk, but not nearly as bad as I thought was going to happen based on her directly using Marines, or Mutas to pick off Marines. Now comes the harassment portion of this plan. Gonna kill a couple supply depots, maybe supply block Inno, which harder. Okay, just lost 2 Mutas for harming a supply depot that's not gonna die. That was not a good trade. Bad trade. Infestation Pit on the way, though. Loving that. Maybe some fungal. Maybe a little neural parasite on some siege tanks or some Thors, if there are Thors in production. Which, no, actually, not happening. Oh, never mind. It is right there. We do have Thors on the way, because of course we do. INnoVation knows there's Mutas out. That's how we do this thing. Yeah, and now Scarlett's like, I'll rebuild all this creep. I'll expand again. I'm going to go to a hive. She's feeling good. All good in the neighborhood. And it was like, crap. I guess I'll go to 4th base. I'm going to make some Thors here. Got Drilling Claws. 3 3s on the way at 10 minutes, which is just impressive as all get out. And it's just Mutiling Bane here with Infestor support. Actually, when I saw the Infestation Pit, I should have realized it's probably just going to be a hive. I haven't seen a lot of Infestor play in the last few months of StarCraft. Ever since they nerfed it into the ground, like they nerfed Fungal, then they nerfed Infested Terrans, then they got rid of Infested Terrans, then they replaced it with a spell that nobody cares about. And Neural Parasite's good if your opponent's meching, but if they're not meching, then it really doesn't have much utility. Oh gosh. What a look at. Okay. You know, what a hold. Like, just he sees it coming. I will target fire the Banelings. They will destroy some of our wall, but not all of it, and our SCVs shall be safe. That's exactly what happened. No, Scarlett, why? No, 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 no. I don't like, really don't like Greater Spire. I don't like Broodlords in this matchup at all. Not since they buffed Thors, gave them the range that outranges Broodlords and does tons of damage to them. Do not enjoy Broodlords against Thor composition. Any Thors at all, not just like a Thor. Crikey. All right, +3 attacks coming in. Adrenal Glands there too for the Zerg. This group not having a great time. Actually, Widowmine's more friendly fire than anything else there. And suddenly, Scarlett having her way with this 3rd base. Wow, 14, 15, 18 SCVs, 20 SCVs killed. Multiple supply depots going down there. Thor's getting murdered. Dude, finishing off this orbital is massive. It is. INnoVation finds himself incredibly supply blocked. I don't know what this group was trying to do, but they're all completely dead. This group retreating as well. Bad times. Bad times here for INnoVation all of a sudden. He's on 3 bases. Scarlett is happily sitting on 5, 6 bases, actually. And this could be some Zerg revenge. See, this is what I'm talking about. Scarlett is very capable of beating players like INnoVation, but just not consistently enough to win another IEM or like a Katowice or something. It's so confounding. All right. This is INnoVation. I'm not saying this is his last hurrah. Oh my gosh, that Thor's gonna die. Unless the Lings... Okay, they finished it off. This is just so much Zerg. So many Banelings. Yeah, Banelings were nerfed, but they still do really well against Marines, which is mostly what INnoVation has here. They were nerfed to do less damage against other stuff, like Marauders and Siege Tanks and Thors and things. But, the Changeling Massacre... I like how they wiggle their arms around. Alright, 6 Broodlords in production. I don't quite see it as happening. So here they are, and they're going to go ahead and do this stuff. Thor needs to change into single target mode, like, now. Like, now? Unless it just dies, in which case it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay, that's your GG. I was going to say, that was the thing. Nicely done, Scarlett. Wow. I mean, basically, ZVT comes down to, can you open macro? Can you hold that first really strong push of Innos on, like, this position here? If you can, you're going to have a good time. If you can't, you're going to have a bad time. I mean, Scarlett, after killing that third base, just a massive advantage in overall income there, killing 23 SCVs, losing not a drone today. Not one drone or one hatchery died today. That is some impressive protection. And, I mean, you're like, Falcon, she made Broodlords and she won. Yes, that's true. But, I don't know, were they super integral in that win? Like, what killed this stuff was not the Broodlords. It was the 36 Banelings she had, I would say, mostly. 36 Banes, and then the Mutalisks that came back. I mean, it's... The Broodlords are nice. Like, I'm not saying they're bad here. They're just adding additional DPS and a little bit of more tanking to allow the Banelings to get in here. So it's not really direct damage, like 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 2. Yeah, I mean, they weren't getting kills necessarily, but they were harming stuff and messing with the AI to where the Lings and Banelings could get in there and actually do the damage while the ground forces were directly focusing on the Broodlings, which is not what they want to do, actually, at all. So, huzzah! That was a really fun twofer, I would say. So that right there is going to be it for me today. This is Ben, Falcon Paladin, coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and a Patreon cast. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch. All at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.